The X factor is either something you have or you don't. I've probably spoken to thousands of online entrepreneurs since I started my online business. For some background, my name is Thomason. I own a company called Inbox Rev. We book software development companies here in the United States, doing over $1 million a year, qualified project calls on their calendar. It's obviously a lead generation service. We're an agency. I've scaled it to $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000 a month profit consistently, and I'm on my way to hitting my first $150,000 a month. That's the next goal. I've documented my entire journey on this YouTube channel. I have over 380 videos. Now, enough about me. The X factor is something, like I said, you either have or you don't, and you can tell off the bat if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur or not. Now, here's the thing with online entrepreneurship. A lot of people will tell you that you have to do something a certain way. I was talking to somebody who was very influential here in the Houston area. I'm based in Austin, Texas here, obviously in the United States. I was talking to somebody in Houston, internet entrepreneur, multi-million dollars, hundreds of $1 million, wealth, private equity, you name it. He probably did it, okay? Building and selling companies. Now, he told me something very, very interesting that I learned from him that really allowed me to think about something in a different way. He said, the way a business owner speaks about their business, or the way an aspiring entrepreneur talks about a company they want to build, is an extremely predictable way to tell where they're going. Now, what's really important about this is whenever somebody's talking about a specific venture they want to go on, maybe you're building your own business or your marketing agency right now, or whatever it looks like, the very interesting part of it is hitting your first $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month profit. That doesn't really mean anything, right? That's just kind of proof of concept. It's big, but it really doesn't mean anything. And the reason why it doesn't mean anything is because you can have a really, for better words, fucked up mindset and reach those levels. But if you are not bulletproof on who you are on the identity level, you will always fall back to your lowest income months. That may have gone over some of y'all's heads. Let me kind of regroup this a little bit. Back about 2 years ago, when I was fully living with my parents and things like that, my mindset was a certain way, okay? It wasn't that I had an income gap. If you would have asked me, hey, if you make $40,000 a month, I would have said, yeah, I can definitely do that. But at the identity level, I really couldn't do that. And hence why it hadn't happened yet. At the identity level, you might be holding yourself back. There might be some X factor, something it's hard to determine. It's some factor to where in your unconscious belief system, you're holding yourself back from success that you believe is inevitable. Now, let me put it to you like this as well. Everybody, quote unquote, famous or successful who has built something had to go through some period that I like to call the yellow brick road, okay? For those of you guys that have watched The Wizard of Oz, you understand the reference, okay? People, I think in the movie, I think it was Dorothy, don't quote me on it, I'm not 100%, walked down the yellow brick road and some other character, completely forgot, took a really long way around or something. They both want to go to the same place. Not 100% of the story, but you're following where I'm going. They both ended up at the same place, right? The key to this entire story is that your path and the person's path that got to where you want to go, whoever you're studying, whoever you want to be like, whoever you're actually looking up to, had to go through a litany of shit that you just don't understand yet. And that's totally fine if you don't understand it, because you'll go through it in your own way, on your own path. But that litany of just stuff that person had to deal with allows you in your head to essentially put them on a pedestal. Oh, this person is at XYZ, they're making this amount of money, they're driving the Z06, C8, they're driving a F8 Ferrari, they're driving an SVJ, whatever it is. Like, they moved out of this penthouse in Miami or Boca Raton or down here in downtown Dallas, LARPing, whatever, like, it doesn't even matter, right? The point is that whether or not you think they struggled or had some sort of like experience with themselves, it doesn't matter. Their own path had dead ends. And this is where it comes down to that X factor. That X factor is you can set yourself up for an excessive amount of success, like more than you can ever think, if you just focus on the inputs, if you become very input oriented, okay? This is something I started doing a couple of years ago, okay? Probably about 3 years ago. I started waking up in the morning and I started mentally checking off the box things that I did throughout the day that then acquired to like check dopamine. Little things like if I woke up on time and didn't snooze my alarm, that's a check. Another thing that I loved to do was if I worked for a consistent 2-hour time block before I went to school, that was a check. And it was those little things that happen in your life that you can accumulate on a daily basis. You get every single day to work on this. You have every single morning, every single time the sun rises, wherever you're at, you have a reset chalkboard is the way I look at it. So even if you screwed up the night before, 2 nights before, or whatever, you were partying, you're doing whatever, you still have the next day to get back at it, but you just can't screw it up in the morning. The morning's extremely important. And so if you can set up those time blocks or just those periods, I used to be insane with the stuff in high school and work on extremely unleveraged activities that made me no money throughout my junior and senior year. But I just was working at Barnes & Noble's, reading every single book about marketing, sales, customer acquisition, things like that. You can go to the bottom of this YouTube channel, you can watch all those videos, you can hear me talking about them at my mom's house, and you can see the progress, okay? So I'm not lying here. All this stuff is documented. I'm very public on the internet. You can find pretty much anything you want about me, okay? The company is very public. Inbox Rev reviews are public. Customer reviews are public, right? And so at that time period, it was extremely dark because I would get up in the morning and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just putting in inputs. I would practice typing for like an hour in the morning. I'd wake up at 4:30 a.m. I practice typing. I read books, right? I read like 100 pages in the morning. And what I didn't know is at this time I was checking off these boxes. Was I making money? Kind of. I was utilizing school at this time. Shout out Alex Ramosi and Sam Evans for school. But at this time I was using school to charge people memberships to get access to, I forgot what it was. It was a certain, like, there was one content system or something like that I was using to help. I think it was Amazon FBA business owners. I was running profile visit paid ads for them at that time, and I was getting them traffic to their page. Anyways, the entire point here is that people will not see, they'll see the chapter 10, but they won't see chapters 1 through 9. That's extremely important. The next thing that's extremely important is that you have to be checking off those inputs, and what that psychologically does for your brain, you might not fully understand until you actually read literature about your brain and about yourself and about philosophies. So I highly encourage you, whatever religion, whatever denomination, whatever certain belief system you believe in, metaphysical, non-metaphysical, it doesn't really matter. I would highly encourage you to read a book, not sponsored at all, Reality Transurfing. Absolutely changed my life, okay? That book, it talks about pendulums, energy, how you can actually force your thoughts into the field out here, and you can essentially craft yourself for success. Now, I know it sounds kind of maybe heebie-jeebies right now, or you haven't really heard of it, or how your thoughts create your reality, and your thoughts create your actions create your results create your reality. You can literally program yourself for success. But I'm not gonna get into all that. It's a whole other topic of conversation. This is about the X factor, okay? I want you to pick up that book, and if you can't read all 800 pages of Reality Transurfing over the course of a couple months, you probably can't be successful. And the reason being is not just because you can shove philosophy and like new age thought down your throat, but it's simply because if you can't put in the input of even reading 30 pages a day, even 40 pages a day used to seem like a lot to me. Now I can read 200 pages a day. I don't do it as much anymore at all because I'm focused on growing the business, delivering amazing results for my customers. But I can sit down and read 200 pages in a book. It doesn't faze me, right? You need to get to the point where you can check off the box for 90 days of something you did that's remotely hard or went against the grain. One of my friends was doing a 5K for like 400 days challenge. He's like 300 days in. A 5K every single day. That's pretty physically draining, right? Without proper recovery, obviously. With proper recovery, you can do it, right? But the point is that the X factor in these online business owners, I'm speaking to some of these guys who are like way younger than me. Like I'm talking 11, 12 years old. Some of the people that call me. I had this one guy call me, he was like 15 or something, building websites using Lovable, right? Super low tech, things like that, selling them to local businesses. All these different things, like it's not something that you are like, no one's gonna force upon you. Like the path to really where you want to go, whether you're hitting like $20,000, $40,000 months, whatever it looks like profit, you're taking home good stuff, you can drive a nice car, live in a nice place, afford a nice lifestyle, take as many girls out you want to like steak dinners and stuff, like whatever like that looks like for you, right? Basically, you have to you either have that X factor or you don't. I mean, you simply do or you don't. You simply have the pain tolerance and mental capacity to set yourself up for success on a daily basis and put yourself in those consistent, grueling situations where you want to stop waking up early, you want to stop going to bed late and working, you want to stop taking sales calls, you want to stop staring at the camera for the past 2 hours because I was recording content for pre-call VSLs and things like that, right? You want to stop, right? But you just don't. You just simply don't. And when I talk to some of these younger guys who are like just kind of scratching their first $5,000, $10,000 a month, I can tell who really has it. Like really, like I can now see, like, and I wasn't able to do this a couple years ago. I can really tell if I talk to you for a little bit, like, okay, yeah, he's got it. Like, it's not so much of how much you can blow up your ego or facade or your business to me. It's really just like how passionately you speak. You can see someone's fire in their eyes. Like you can probably tell by watching this video, you're like, this guy's serious, he's on point, right? Because I am. And so you can tell when you talk to these types of people. Like Hermosi has it. If any of you guys have met him or went to one of his workshops, he has it, right? He has that X factor. The X factor is I would say 99% of, like, made. It's really made. Some people are just born in certain environments where they have to like go into those certain things where the X factor is like a little bit harder. Like, you know, underdeveloped communities here in the United States, you know, like call them hoods or ghettos, whatever. Like people like that, they grow up in more survival mindset, so they kind of have to hustle to get their way out. Like I believe some of those people, maybe they're more built with the X factor because of their external situation. I would probably be too if I was dropped in that environment as well, right? You probably would as well. Maybe you're from an area like that. The entire point here is that the X factor is really built. It's a bulletproof mind that takes you exactly from point A to point B. The only thing you have to do is set a very clear point B on where you want to go. So have a goal sheet, write a piece of paper, literally a sheet of paper, not Claude, not Gemini, I don't want notes, none of that shit, right? Sheet of paper, and you literally write down where you want to be in the next 90 days, specifically income-wise, and hyper specifically what you're going to do every single day to get there, and you just don't falter. Simple as that. That's how you build up the X factor, right? And then the X factor gets stronger, it gets stronger, it gets stronger, and then you start to have these things called quantum jumps, to where maybe one month you made, you know, $10,000, and the next month all these customers sign from marketing efforts that you put in maybe 2 or 3 months ago, or you built up a lot of goodwill on YouTube and then a lot of customers came. Next month you're making $80,000 profit, and then you go back down to like 30. But like, you see what I'm saying? There's a quantum jump. You'll see it. It'll happen in your actual like life. You know, if you follow those steps in compounding interest, and everything will take effect, right? You start doing nicer things, you start feeling more abundance, more gratitude, put it out there, and it all comes back, okay? So that's where you're at. I just want to talk briefly about the X factor. You either have it or you don't. Obviously, you guys can check out my company website. We have all the customers' testimonials on Trustpilot, where we host we have a podcast called Rev Talks that we do here with custom development software companies, technology founders. We service our customers, which are custom development software companies doing over $1 million a year here in the United States to the highest ability. We book them qualified project calls. I'm obviously the CEO and founder of here at Inbox Rev. We have a team, probably about 10 right now. And then we use a lot of AI on the back end. So this entire YouTube channel is pretty much documented to scaling my marketing agency, as well as just giving like tips and tricks to like entrepreneurs who can potentially watch this maybe in the couple of decades. There might not be a lot of views right now, which is totally fine, but maybe like by the year like 2040, I don't know, or like 2060 or something like that, to where like a lot of people watch it. It gains a lot of traction, and it's just like undeniable proof of like, yeah, Patrick was here talking at the age of 20 about who he was going to really be at the age of 30 and 40. Is he there? Yes. Okay, well, let's just backtrack how he got there. Well, he started showing up and doing stuff like this, right? And so like, I just want this channel just to be undeniable proof. Anybody who's like, oh, this guy didn't really do it, or I'm like, I built this publicly, like, go watch my shit. Like, go watch, you'll bore yourself watching all these videos, you know? Like, that's how I want it to be. You have to be, Alex Hormozi quote, you have to show undeniable proof of who you say you are. And I believe it's in the context of customers handing you money in the online space, especially for marketing. It's you simply have to have undeniable proof of doing exactly what you do and who you are and who you say you are. You have to have proof, okay? So that being said, that's a video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Hit me up on Instagram personally. If you guys have any like personal questions, I always respond. My DMs are always open. I wouldn't mind chatting or talking with you guys. And I'll see you soon. Peace.